In the art of cinema, color is used as a basic narrative element to transmit different thoughts and feelings. And in the movie we are going to speak about, the treatment of color goes a little bit farther than usual, becoming a narrative element of the highest degree in symbolism. The whole story takes place on a high-class restaurant, Le Hollandais, owned by a really aggressive gangster called Spica. He would go to the restaurant every night with his wife Georgina, who, mistreated by the husband, soon catches the eye of a quiet, regular customer, Michael. This movie is mainly set in 4 different scenarios of this restaurant, and every room is filled in a really specific color. The selection of these colors is not accidental. Every color has an interpretation in our psychology. And here, that interpretation is directly related with the action that takes place in every space. Let's start from the outside. This is a place of transit. The characters use it to get in and to get out. But also it's the place in which the most violent scenes happen. It's quite a neutral area since it doesn't belong to any character, and any character belongs to it. That's why it has the most neutral, cool and less vivid color of the range, blue. The kitchen is the place in which the 2 lovers build their relationship, supported by the cooks. That's why it has a color which reminds us to the trust and complicity with their witnesses, to the peace that the lovers feel is there, and the hope of being able to continue their romance. The dining room is filled with an intense red. This scenario is led by Spica, which represents the anger and the violence by himself. But at the same time, it is also the color of passion and temptation, since there is where the 2 lovers begins their story, under Spica's nose. The toilet is colored in white, the color of the pureness. There, the lovers meet for the first time, and they feel they are in an intimate place where they can be fully themselves, far from any threat or danger. Even if we put an eye in the clothing of the main characters, we will notice how they change color when they go from one stage to the other. While other characters remain the same, the cooks dress in green in the living room, the waiters dress in red in the kitchen, and Michael, he always dresses in a dark orange suit. Why? Well, we will discover that out later. We can understand this as some characters belong to a certain place, while others, as Spica and Georgina, still didn't find themselves or the place they belong. Anyway, we could think that having all the scene immersed in one color could be visually pretty boring. But why is this not happening here? Well, because Greenaway easily solved this issue by slightly adding a second color tone with the illumination, the complementary color of each space. Let's bring up a color wheel to see it better. In the outside, Greenaway uses yellow tones for some lighted elements in the background and for the main lighting. The use of any other color will also have made the scene more visually interesting, but not in such an effective way. It happens the same in the green kitchen, which is contrasted with a desaturated red lighting, near to orange. In the red dining room, the lighting is white, and even if we have a main key light, we also have quite an intense field light. The reason why he chose this lighting for this space might be to be able to have more depth of field. In this way, we can see clearly the whole scenario sharp, even when using the parallax. But anyway, we can see the complementary color in quite a bit of green elements he added, like plants, bottles, and minor objects. The general lighting of the whole movie is made by the combination of zenithal strong guided lights and backlights, which generates really strong shadows. He goes from the bigger complex schemes like this one, to more intimate ones, more dramatic, and more general. As the story unfolds, Greenaway plays more with light and colors, bringing up more scenarios as the Yellow Hospital, or Michael's house, which is, as his suit, dark orange, making the contrast, of course, with a complementary light blue lighting. Finally, after Michael's murder, we have a drastic change of lighting in all the scenarios, or we should say, a lack of lightings, because everything remains immersed in shadow and we see the predominance of black, the color of the death. This use of lighting reminds us to the chiaroscuro technique, commonly used in Baroque painting. The comparison of this movie with art is everything but unfair, because in this film, Peter Greenaway elevates the techniques of movie making into the most sophisticated way of artistic expression. And we certainly know that we are seeing an art piece when, under a great context, either in a conceptual or visual way, everything has its reason for being.